Greg here again with a bench review. See what I've been doing the last few days. I'm on with the Tamiya Stug 4. Typical Tamiya kit. Well, it's the older kit. It's the when was it made kit? It will tell me, won't it, usually? Well, you can't find it now. Typical again. Must be in the 70s. I would have thought so, the 70s. Well, the actual thing was made. So you usually have a everything's but the date, I think, isn't it? Yeah. So I can't give you the date, unfortunately. It must be old. So I think I paid 12 quid for it or something like that, so it wasn't expensive. It's turned out to a nice kit. It really has. I know the detail isn't as maybe good as say the Dragon Stugs or whatever like that, but it's nothing wrong with it. As you can see, let's just zoom in a little bit. And I'll bring it forward. See, I'm getting on with the basically I give it the Desert Yellow, the Tamiya, never remember again, the Tamiya F60 is the base, but underneath that they do the black and white cut. They say this isn't fastened on you, this is just because I've got the track stick on, obviously. Yeah, so basically it's the black and white technique. Actually it was black and grey this time. I did the grey just to see if it made any difference. It works quite well. And then I did a full coat of, light coat of the XF dark yellow XF60, and then I used the NATO green, and I just did a, you can't quite see the pattern, you might be able to pick the pattern up on there, just a green camouflage pattern, just like links together so it goes all over the place. It isn't a solid glump, it's just like lines. But as I say, as time goes on, when I'm weathering it, you'll be able to see them better. So then I obviously I give it a dull coat, left that for a good 12 hours, and then I did the hairspray technique. Obviously 2 nice coats, fine misting coats of the hairspray, left to dry, and then I used the well, actually I didn't use a Tamiya pen for this one. I used the AK white primer, which is AK 177. And I didn't have to add anything to it, mixed it with anything. I've just got an agitator in it, which is one of the marine bolts, straight from the bottle into the air gun, and away it went. Got a nice covering, not too thick, you know. It was only put on like with a brush or a mop or something, so it wasn't immaculate, and it wasn't you know, completely white. The whole thing wasn't completely white. And now I've started chipping it now, bringing some of the you know, the colours through from the camouflage on it now. Just started to do that today. Sorry, yesterday. I started doing that yesterday afternoon. And I'm going to start doing some oil work on the tank itself and on the assault gun itself after this is finished. As far as the side skirts are all done, they're all individual now. Let me just zoom back out. Out. I can see, actually you can see what's, you might be able to pick the camouflage pattern up on the rear of the tank. If you can, wrong way. You can just make it out probably, like green lines. And I had some of the you know, the cheap nasty stuff that Tamiya gives you for the grill covers. I had some left, so I covered them over with that, just to make it a bit more interesting. So this is nowhere near finished yet. See, you've got lots to do on it. Yeah, there's the machine gun to add, there's the tracks, whichever else, and I've got to put a bit of white on the interior because I'm having the commander that'll be standing on here, machine gun, and also I'm going to have to have a figure in there as well. Oh yeah, we've gone too far across there, haven't we? Yeah, I'm having figures in both hatches. As far as the side skirts are concerned, they were all one piece, so I decided to score them and damage them, chip them. Oh, bloody hell, I haven't even told you I put a Tamiya Azimuth PE on the actual Stug itself. Oh, bloody hell, useless. I'm absolutely useless. So that was obviously before all the paint was on there. So that was fairly straightforward. Just used CA glue to put them down. Hasn't moved since. But there was no Zimmery things for the side skirts, so I had to make my own. I'll just use the Kneader-Tite. I think I may have done it a bit thick, but for next time I'll know. I've done my own. It's quite worked out quite well. So the chip gone back to the red primer, which most German tanks had. And there again, the decals aren't decals. That's the stencil thing, which I do use kind of quite on a regular basis now. I do have quite a selection of them, so I use those instead of decals now. And the unit markings on the front aren't proper unit markings as such. There's red line on there, and there's the unit marking there on the other side. I don't know if you can quite make it out. I haven't sort of. There we are. I just caught it on there. So it's a fictitious unit, you know. I just thought it would be something slightly different, just to bring a bit of a colour into it. These are concrete. These give you options of 2 options, the normal, and these are concrete armour blocks to help with protection. The gun moves up and down and side to side, so not much, you know, there's never much range, but up and down. Yeah, all the wheels and underneath are all done underneath. They're all weathered, and so underneath. Let's just take some of these side skirts off and we can see where we are at the moment. So like I say, I've got quite a bit to do in it yet, but it's getting there. It's getting there. Yeah, so I've weathered the solid underneath the. Where we are? Let's zoom out first, and then we can out. There we go. I'll bring it to the camera easier then. Slightly weathered the underneath again with the white as well. That's got to be slightly chipped in that. Yeah, that hasn't finished. Yeah, so there I've got, that's all. And the rear is isn't quite finished yet. That's the exhaust. That's going to be a bit of rust on there. Yeah, just chip away and then add a bit of rust and smoke from the use the black pigment on the exhausts. There again, there's not much on the back rear. That's just the from the aerials that I made. I've kept it and put that around the jack box. Just looks like a bit of barbed wire or something, or wire. They say they're the guitar strings again for the aerials. I don't know how many times I would have knocked them off every time. I've actually knocked this one off twice on this side, but luckily it hasn't snapped. It's just come away from the bracket with the glue. But apart from that, everything's been fine. I've actually done it all underneath the tank. That's what I tend to do underneath there is try a different thing out here before I go any farther. I'll see if it works okay underneath that. As you can see, I've filled the holes in. Not perfectly, but I filled them in a little bit. And I've even gone inside and did the whitewash on the, just to see what it would look like first before I started doing anything. They've got to be chipped and that yet. The cupoula's come off again. So I haven't glued this cupola on because I'm waiting for the figure so I can get the figure in first and then put the cupola back on. Put it the right way, Mr. Riley would help. Yeah, so I'm only going to use the rubber tracks on this one, which I've got ready to be primed in Nator Black. Just the plastic ones are quite nice, little bit of detail on considering the edge of the kit. Obviously the Stug specialists will say I'm wrong and I shouldn't be using these tracks, or they didn't have them kind of tracks, but they say there's no injection marks on the back of it anywhere, none whatsoever. You see, it's the old style, you know, tracks, but they'll go because they don't need any sag because of the rollers on the top. Might put a little bit of a sag on it, but there again you're not going to really see them with the side skirts on. So they're ready to be primed. I say I've primed it in now. I'll just get I'll actually use instead of using my Nator Black, which I'm trying to keep, because I've just been using the AK black primer again, which is AK-17, is that 178? Yeah, AK-178. So I've had these quite a while. I keep forgetting to use them, but now I've got them on my desk front, so now I'm using them. Let's say that's and I used that grey there for the highlight coat underneath, which is the grey primer as well, which is a MiG 2002, and that comes out quite well. So all straight from the bottle though. No, I didn't have to add anything to it at all. So we'll be carrying on with this and finishing off weathering it. It's I've just started using oils in the last couple of builds, mainly with the Enigma, and I'm really into my oils at the moment, so this is what I'm going to be doing, a lot of oil work on here to bring a few of the details out and things like that. But, yeah, so they'll be using a lot of oil. So it's all in here, ready to be used in here. Where we are, let's just zoom completely back out, eh? Let's see where we are. Oh, we zoom down. So the colours I'm going to be using, so I've got a little bit of Church Royals. I just made a little, cute little box with a tissue at the bottom and a bit of silicone paper, and just kept my oils in there just overnight, just to keep them moist. So what I'm going to be using is the titanium white, titanium white, the Naples yellow, the lamp black, the yellow ochre, raw sienna, and raw umber. So they're the colours I'll be using on this kit. Sorry, and the green, which is the sap green, just to bring bits and pieces of detail out. So, and I say I left them on a piece of paper, sorry, on the piece of cardboard to get the oil out, linseed oil out, so I can use them. So they're in there. Then also I'll be carrying on with then obviously a variation of brushes that I use when I'm doing them for different, obviously for the different coloured oils I'll be using. And I use just one of these brushes that I say I got a couple of weeks ago. It just says Germany on it, so I've just been using this sort of thing here just to, put the streaking like I did on the side. Oh, I never did yet. I never showed you the side skirts on the. So what I've been doing with the side skirts, obviously, I didn't put Zimmer on the other side, and obviously they didn't get too much of the whitewash on the inside, so I've been doing things like that with the oils, which have come out quite well from the first really good attempt at it. So I've used the white, as you can see. I've used the raw umber, I've used the raw sienna, just to colour it a little bit, wear and tear, from the inside. It's not going to be perfectly white, just an overspray and things like that from the whitewash. So I've done that all on every one of the, they're not all the same obviously, there's different streaking, different things like that on each one, which I thought was quite nice. I just started lying there thinking, there's something missing, isn't there? So I said they're too clean, so that's what I did with the Stug. So that's there to be finished now. So the oils on the top, tracks to be done, figure to be finished, and that's another one into the cupboard. And in the meantime, while I've been waiting for other things to dry, I showed you this last week, which is the Dragon Sherman with the flamethrower. So let me just move some of this stuff off here so you can see where we are. Let's just pop out there for now. Yeah, so this is obviously not fastened down yet or anything, so the kit itself went together really easily. No fit issues, but typical to me instructions, not very clear at all. Let's just move out the way. Not very clear at all. The detail on the kit isn't bad really, I must admit. So the construction is basically finished, apart from obviously the Pioneer tools to go on and all that kind of stuff. But this will be getting a black coat shortly. I'll do it today, and I'll use the grey again, I think, because it worked quite well with the Stug, so I'll use the grey and white highlight technique on this. So the smaller diameter gun is the flamethrower, and obviously it's the short barrel 75 or 76, 75. Yeah, it's not a bad little kit. I did a little bit extra. The casting on the turret was fine, but when it was put together, you had that line all the way around, and no matter what I did, I couldn't get rid of that seam. So I just missed the surface of 500 and just went round the turret again, just so you can hide all the imperfections. It went right round. Didn't have to go any farther up on that because the texture's still nice. I didn't do any on the turret roof because the texture is really quite nice on that. So that's the only sort of, not fit issue, but it was annoying, and I could see that that seam line all the way around. So I put it on there. It seems to want to go one way and then twist back the other. There we are. Yeah, so it's a simple kit to put together. My only criticism of this kit is the bogies haven't really. That's away from me. The bogies haven't really got a decent attachment point, a very fine attachment point. And same with the rollers at the top. You put the roller onto the thing and you stick the actual roller onto the lower hull, as you can see from underneath. Let's get a pointy stick. They give you, on the hull itself here, they give you the round circles where these have to be stuck. See these things here? So they're not really particularly strength. So see how we get on with them. Obviously I've used super glue as well as the Tamiya extra thin, and same with the bogies. They haven't got much of an attachment point either. They really haven't. Basically the attachment point is from there, and there's not much. It's probably about less than 2mm for it attached to the lower hull. So there again, I've double strength that as well with Tamiya extra thin and super glue, and so far so good. But say I haven't done anything with the tracks for this yet, so we'll see when we put it together with the tracks if it holds up. But that's my only criticism. Well, one of the criticisms, the main criticism was the tracks. I shall show you the tracks. See, all the wheels are all there. They're all ready. They're all sanded off, ready to be primed as well. And then I took all this. When I did the kit review, I did say about the tracks themselves, because they had the every single one as. Let's get this work. Black. There we are. Every single one has 2 sinkholes there. And not in the easiest place to get off. But I said I'm going to give it a go. So I started putting some together. Just, you know, they do clip together really quite nicely. You just push them in like that. There's, you know, obviously it'll be glue, but they do stay and they get quite a bit of movement. But when you come to the individual guide horns, which I haven't taken off all the sprues, the attachment point there again is very minimum, and they're rough as well. So I'm going to have to be careful when I'm putting them. Actually, I can't really see. I'm going to have to work out a way of getting all these sinkholes out. I'll probably have to use a scraper or modify a sander to get into there to take them out, and then I'm going to have to work out what's the best procedure to put the guide horns in, because they don't look pretty secure there. It's almost like just a blob of glue and stuck there. You know, there's no, although it looks like there's a, you know, the hole there for the guide horn, but it just doesn't fit properly. It's so rough. So I don't know if I'm going to have to take a piece out of there as well, scrape it out with a knife every time I do a guide horn. So I did try and take some of these. This was sort of the first attempt to try and get some of the sinkholes out. Maybe you to see it a lot better. I've got some of them out, but it took a hell of a long time to get some of this. The one I haven't got out, it's still there, you can still see them, but it took me quite a long while to get to that. So I'm undecided if I want to do them or not. I'm going to have to see, because I do have some plastic tracks for the Sherman. I do have these are the metal ones, and I do have the rubber ones, but I prefer obviously to do the metal ones. You know, the I might buy some aftermarket, I don't know yet. I'm going to see, I'm going to give it a good go tonight. Well, sorry, as you can see, I put one guide hard on that one, but it just doesn't look right, doesn't feel right. It really doesn't feel right at all. So there's not much of a contact point in there at all to actually make it fit. So I'm going to have a look and see if I'm doing anything wrong. But yeah, it's going to be a ball. I'm going to say to go that way on apparently, so which I wasn't 100% sure about, but we'll see. We'll see as the build progresses. Just a quick tap there from the rest of the Kneader from the Zimmerit that I did. So there's nothing else to say about that really. I've got a bit of stowage for the for this as well. A couple of jerry cans, spare wheels, that kind of sort of thing. Because this was set in Korea, this one. So we, you know, in the 50s. But the kit itself is quite nicely detailed. And all these you can buy photo etch for all these, but I didn't want to, you know, I just built it straight from the box. There's nothing extra on this tank at all from any PE. There's no PE, nothing. So it's just straight from the box. You will get the usual criticism that these are far to scale, they're far too thick. But you know, it doesn't really bother me. And it's my first Sherman, so which I've quite enjoyed. So I do have a few of the other variations of Shermans, but I say I'll be making another one for the Friedlich line, the Western Wall. So that'll be a one to look out for in the future. Yeah, so I think that's about it at the moment where we are. What's on the bench? I have nothing else in the pipeline, so I want to finish these two off first, and then I'm going to do a KV2 with Mr. Joe Bentley. We did a chat last night online, and we're going to do a KV2. I think it's mine's a trumpeter one, and I think Joe's got a Tamiya one, and what's the other one? I think he said he had a Tamiya one. I can't think what he said what the other one was, but so they're not going to be the same models, but they're going to be the same tank. So it'll be interesting to see Joe's interpretation and mine. But say I'm going to do mine with as a German markings or why, but I do have one of the trumpeters which is got German markings, so I'll probably be doing that one. I think that's it really. A couple of shout outs to Paul from Paul Scale Models, and for Neil McKay, the Mad Welshman. Them two are doing a buddy build of a diorama with railway lines and bridges and God knows what else. They're going to be massive when they're finished, but what I've seen of the builds so far off both of them is going to be superb. So pop onto their channels and have a look. I think Neil's put one up recently of sort of where is that. I don't know if Paul has. I think he's going to, but it'd be interesting to see when they do. Again, they've got their own. That's going to be a long build for them both, but they're getting there with it. So yeah, give them a good look at, as well as Jack. You know, Jack's Models. He's been into the wargaming figures and things like that. He's been doing a lot of it at the moment, so I don't know if he's got anything new on his channel at the moment, but yeah, give him a look. Any of what he's done, his figure work is superb. And then we got Bees, again, Bees Beasley. He's still on with his masterpiece of his buddy built sort of thing for him and Simon Kemp. Simon did the houses, and Bees is doing all the figures and all the interiors, and you really want to look at that. That's superb. That really is. The detail he's getting is absolutely brilliant. It really is. So it is worth checking out. Definitely check out that Bees' channel. That's a build and a half. And then of course you got Mr. John Moore. One of the first channels I watched was John Moore's, and sort of got me into oh well, I can have a go at that, or do this and do that. So thanks for John for that. And of course Mr. Mottram, who was the architect of this channel, forced me to start doing something, and I'm glad I did. Yeah, so he's to blame for this channel, so I'm not. So I just said I thank you all for, you know, the friendship I've gained since I've been in this little group, and for the help, you know, the everything. You know, I've never met a bunch of chaps who are so easygoing and always willing to help other people. I forgot there's Les as well, Les and Alex from Scotland as well. I don't think he has a YouTube channel yet. I think he may, I'm not too sure. Les has. I think he's only got a couple of contents, but I've heard he's going to do a video of what he's up to. So I'll give him a look. I don't know, it's Les's Scale Models. I can't remember, but I'll leave a link for them all in the description box. So I think that's about everything else I've. So there's Jens as well. Sorry, my friend in Germany. He's just moved house recently, and we've had nothing from him at the moment. So obviously we're looking forward to seeing Jens' channel back again, the Master Scratch Builder. So I give him a kit and he'll build completely the detail up on it. He'll do from scratch. Superb work he does. So hopefully it won't be too long before he's back with us again. I think that's about it then. So I'll try to say all thank you to all my subscribers, old and new, and I say I'm really appreciative for the comments I'm getting. I really am, and the positive comments as well. I don't mind if I get I'm willing to learn. You know, if you think I'm doing something wrong, or I can do it better, or this way is better, or that way is better, please, please leave it. I'll take it on board. Right, so I've waffled on long enough now, so I shall sign off, and we shall see you very soon with an update on the Sherman and the Stug.